Welcome back to another episode of Ramblin' Rams. I'm your host, James Trillo, here with my co-host, Jordan. Jordan, the Rams are back in the win column with a win over the Arizona Cardinals. How we feeling?
We're feeling great. Like you said, feels great to be back on the winning side of things. About time. Feeling really, really good going into the playoffs. I don't know about you, but for me, I feel like everything this weekend went pretty perfectly as far as I could consider.
Yeah, I feel like there was definitely some stuff they could have cleaned up in the beginning of the game in the first three quarters, but I saw the post game. What do you want to call it? The post game talk that McVay always gives in the locker room after we win. They always post it on Instagram or whatever. And one of the things he said that stood out to me was as soon as they went down 3 points, they just automatically locked in, got three stops in a row, three scoring drives in a row, and kind of just ran away with the game and won by 17 points. So we were texting each other a little bit worried. We were like, "Come on, it's the Cardinals. Why are we down three right now? We give up back-to-back touchdown." But then they redeemed themselves. They end up winning the game by three scores. So at the end of the day, a good win. Some stuff that definitely needs to be cleaned up. One thing I do want to point out is the running game. I don't know if you'd agree with me on that. I think it was you that I was texting that said the running game is a little bit scary, like
Yes.
not in a good way because of just it's just not looking great lately. I mean, what are your thoughts on the running game with Williams and Corum?
Yeah. I think there's a few things going into that. I've thought so much about this because I'm old school, big into running the football. I think obviously the injuries have played a part of that. Kevin Dotson, I don't know if you heard yesterday, they were raving about Kevin Dotson on the TV broadcast,
Mhm.
like just talking about how he's our best offensive lineman, which I wholeheartedly agree with. I think he's underrated and undervalued player across the league, and definitely our best offensive lineman for sure. And his best attribute is his run blocking. He's not good at run blocking. He is great at run blocking. One of the best guards in the league in terms of blocking the run and making ways for your running back. So that's huge. I also think an aspect of it is Adams being out. That takes a lot of attention. Okay, you don't have Adams out there. We're gonna put more people in the box. We got to think more in terms of inside as opposed to having that huge, massive outside threat. So I definitely think that plays into it too. Another thing that I think has played into it too is I feel like we've been a little too obvious when running the football. We need to get more, I feel like we've gotten into that 13 personnel and we've kind of just been a little too obvious with it. Because the thing that was working so well for us was, well, you don't know if the Rams are running it or passing it out of 13 personnel. Because if you
Yep.
stack the box and play the run, well, they're going to play action with you, and it's going to happen like we saw yesterday when they did lock in, and Parkinson's going to get a wide open touchdown because they're stacking the box and there's no one back there. So it's like the play calling struggles that you've pointed out, and injuries have played into it. But I think one thing I will say is I trust our running backs themselves. And I don't know. Maybe I'm just drinking the Kool Aid a little bit, but I'm really starting to maybe think Corum. We're hitting these playoffs, and a lot of times a running back can kind of shift that load in the playoffs, and a new guy can really emerge and lead your team. So if we lean on Corum and he's cooking, like I love Kyron, keep giving Kyron the ball. Don't keep him out of the game. But if Corum's cooking, I want to see Corum in, because I feel like Corum with his burst, if there's not really anywhere open to run, he's going to get you 5 yards, where Kyron is really going to only get you like one or two, maybe, if everything goes right. So, I still love Kyron. I want to see that dynamic building, and hopefully with Kevin Dotson, Devontae Adams back, and a week of preparation, we'll be ready for Saturday and run all over the Panthers.
Absolutely. I think the play calling that you pointed out, I couldn't agree more. I mentioned to you over text that I just am not a huge fan of the way McVay has been controlling these games the last 4 or 5 weeks. I think the last game that he really coached well was the one against Detroit where we won. Since then, I just think there's been a lot of questionable choices from him. Like if you have 3rd and 3 and we had yesterday we had 3rd and 3 at like the 20-yard line, right? The Cardinals 20-yard line. And to me, if you're going to run the ball on 3rd and 3 and you don't get it, let's say you get like a yard, now it's 4th and 2. You're running the ball there because you're giving yourself another down by going for it on 4th, or you could go play action or just pass the ball in general on 3rd and 3, and if you don't get it, all right, take the 3 points. To me, you can't run the ball there and then kick, because if you
Yeah.
don't get 3 yards, what is the you basically just not gave up because you could still get the 3 yards on the ground, but I think we can all agree that you have a better chance throwing the ball in the air to Puka Nakua or whoever. So I just little stuff like that just kind of pisses me off with McVay lately. I just don't understand it. Like you see all these teams nowadays, if they have 3rd and short, they will run the ball and give themselves a 4th and short. We run the ball, give ourselves a 4th and short, and kick the field goal. Doesn't make much sense to me. So I think there's definitely some things that need to be cleaned up on McVay's part. I still think he's a great coach. I think you could argue he's the best coach in the NFL. He's an absolute football genius. I'm not going to sit here and complain because a lot of teams, like you look at the Giants and the Jets and the Raiders or whoever, they've gone through a coaching carousel the last 10 years. They can't find their guy. We've had our coach for almost a decade now. So I'm not sitting here complaining that I don't like Sean McVay. And by the way, speaking of Sean McVay and Leslie, congratulations to them on their 100th win. So 100 wins with the LA Rams, good for them. So, like I said, that just proves my point even more. They're phenomenal at what they do, but sometimes it's just like, makes you think like, what are we doing here? But overall, McVay's great. I expect him to lock in for the playoffs and really get us over the hump and give us a true playoff push this year because we really haven't had a true playoff push since we won the Super Bowl.
Right. Yeah. I
So,
mean, last year we got, man, last year for me felt so close, even though we were only in the divisional round. But
mm,
I do understand what you're saying. Like, we haven't had a big run since 2021-22
right.
season for sure.
Right, we haven't gotten past the second round since then because we didn't make the playoffs, then we lost in the first round to Detroit, and then we lost in the second round to Philly. I am so glad that we are not the 6th seed because not because I'm scared of the Eagles, but we talk about this every week, how I'm in Eagles territory, and if they lose to the Eagles in the playoffs again, I don't know what I'm gonna do. So, I'm definitely glad we have a different opponent in the first round. Speaking of the first round, do you wanna go over some predictions maybe for the
Yeah.
NFL playoffs?
Sounds good.
So I'm gonna pull up the bracket right here. You guys, the fans, can comment down below while we do this. Who you think is going to win, and Jordan and I are going to predict ourselves who we think is going to win each playoff game and so forth, and who's going to win the Super Bowl. So, do you want to do this how we've been doing the predictions lately, where we go back and forth, or do we want to agree each on like each game because there's less games?
Mm, yeah, let's talk about each game and let's try to come to a consensus agreement
Okay.
unbiasedly. I like that. That way we're both feeling good about it.
Okay. We got San Diego and New England. Who do we got there? And
Man, that is a tough one. I don't want to be the Patriots hater, the Drake May hater right now. So, I will say though, I think the Chargers, they have more playoff experience for sure. They haven't won any playoff games, but they've been there. Harbaugh's a really good coach. I think Mike Vrabel's a really good coach too. So I think that's close. I think May and Herbert, I know May's had a better year. I think that's pretty close too, actually. So I think this will be a really close game. At home, I might give the slight edge to the Pats. What do you think?
I'm going with the Patriots. I don't like how San Diego, or the LAB team has played in the playoffs the last few years. I'm a big
Yeah.
Herbert guy. I'm a big fan of his. I think he's very underrated. Matter of fact, I think he's a top 5 quarterback in football. I've been saying that for like 3 or 4 years now. But we haven't seen enough from the Chargers in the playoffs yet to really consider them a threat to beat the Patriots, who are one of the best teams in football. So
Agreed.
I agree that the Patriots are going to win. That now leads to the Patriots division rival against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Who do we got?
Oh man, I don't want to be disrespectful here. I think it'll be a somewhat close game. I think the Jags keep it competitive. Like you said, they are at home. They've had a great year. You know, we put a pretty good number on them. That was kind of a really great win for us. But they've had a really great year. You know, good for Jacksonville. Unfortunately, I think that's going to come crashing down. I think Josh Allen is going to put a pretty good number on those boys. Josh Allen versus Josh Allen game though,
Yeah.
so keep an eye out for that. I'll lean towards the Bills, Josh Allen in this game though for sure.
I'll agree with you here. I'll take the Bills, but I think this is going to be a closer game than a lot of people think because I think the Jaguars are the most slept on team in the league. They're
A
what
lot.
a 12 win team for a reason, you know. Now we took care of them pretty easily back in whatever it was, week 6 or week whatever it was. So, we took care of them easily 35-7, but the Jaguars have been a great team since then. What were they 12-5 this year?
I believe so. Yeah,
12
they've had a crazy year.
Yeah, they've had a great year, and I feel like nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about it because at the beginning of the year, it was, "Oh, the Colts are 7-1," and now it's, "Oh, the Texans' defense is arguably the best in the league." Obviously, nobody's talking about the Titans because they're not having their best season. And then the Jaguars, who have been good pretty much all year since week 5 or week 6, they've been a great team. Nobody's talked about it. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and say that I think they're gonna beat the Bills because I'm gonna take Josh Allen over Trevor Lawrence, but I don't think it's ridiculous to say the Jaguars win this game, but I'll agree with you and say the Bills win. So, Texans Steelers after that crazy Steelers game last night, crazy finish. Who do we got? Are the Steelers first round exits again, or do they get over that
Oh,
hump of the first round?
oh man, this is a weird one, man. In Pittsburgh with Aaron Rodgers, I feel like my gut is telling me Texans and my head is telling me Steelers. So I'll defer to you in this one. I
Ooh,
really don't know who to pick. I think these teams are kind of dead even, honestly. I think the Texans might be a little better, but I think the Steelers' home field advantage and Aaron Rodgers' experience kind of helps them. So I really think it's 50-50.
I'm gonna go with the Texans.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the Texans. I think they have one of the best defenses in the league, which makes them a better team than the Steelers. And I'm just overall, I just haven't been impressed with the Steelers all year long. They're 10-7, but with a missed field goal last night, they could have been 9-8 and not even in the playoffs. So to
I
me,
agree.
that's not really a playoff threat. And if you're not a playoff threat, I don't see you winning a playoff game. I think that's easy enough to say. So that leaves us with the Bills, Broncos, Texans, and Patriots, but we'll do the NFC side first.
Okay.
One of the best rivalries in NFL history, the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears. Who you got, Jordan?
I think this will be a very, very close game. Last minute win,
Yeah.
maybe even a game winning field goal. Just that familiarity, kind of a weird game. I like Ben Johnson and the Bears, though. Shout out my mom. She's from Chicago, old school Bears fan. I'll
Nice.
roll with the Bears this one.
I'm going to agree with you because I don't like the way the Packers have played the last 4 or 5 weeks of the season. The Bears are coming off 2 losses, but I still think they're a better team than Green Bay. So I will agree with you and say the Bears take down their rivals for the second game in a row against them. That leaves us to my two least favorite teams. I can't speak for you, but they're my two least favorite teams in the NFL for sure. The 49ers and the Eagles. Who do we got?
No, for sure. These are definitely right now my two least favorite teams in the league. I don't know who to root for here. I'm glad they're knocking each other out.
Mhm.
This is another hard one, man. I think these teams are pretty even. They both got a lot of experience. The Eagles got winning experience. The 49ers are used to losing, but they're capable of winning games like this. I think my gut, I'm just thinking, I got a lot of respect for San Fran as much as I do hate them. I
Mhm.
hate them more than the Eagles. I will never hate a team as much as I do the 49ers in any sport. But I think that they are going to win this football game. I think they're the better team. I think they're playing better right now too. I know the Eagles have been, besides this last week where they kind of shut it down. They've been on a little bit of a run, but I think the 49ers are better. I think Kyle Shanahan's a better coach than Sirianni. and I think they get this win. I think they get this win on the road.
I'm gonna go with the Niners just because I was going to say I think either team could win this game, and I'm kind of 50-50. But if you're leaning towards the Niners, we can pick them. So that would mean we're guaranteed a new Super Bowl champion.
Yes,
The last 3 Super Bowl champions were Eagles, Chiefs, Chiefs, so we have a new Super Bowl champ, and just saying the last one before that was the Rams. Just saying, just saying.
there
So
you go.
and speaking of the Rams, now we have Rams Panthers. Do the Rams get their payback on the Panthers after a few weeks ago when the Panthers beat us, or do the Panthers double down and sweep us this season? What do you think?
No, I will try to remain 100% unbiasedly here. I have talked about the Panthers, strangely enough, a lot this season. They have come up time after time. They've hung around all year and had a heck of a year. I know they kind of fell flat against Tampa Bay, but that was on the road in the rain. That's a really tough football game. That being said, all respect to the Panthers, we better put a beat down on the Panthers. I'm not calling for a blowout. I don't think we'll, run the score up on them. Here's what I want to see from this game. I want to see us control the game. I want to see us take a lead, and I want to see us defensively. Bryce Young played way too good against us last week. And the defense, honestly, the secondary hasn't been good enough either. And that goes hand in hand with the linebackers. I heard one of my favorite YouTubers talking about Nate Landman's kind of had a bit of a fall off since he's gotten paid. Quentin Lake's been out in that same period too. So we'll see where the defense is at. We had 6 sacks last week. I need that same energy. What was it? 9 sacks against the Vikings last year
Yeah,
in the
9.
wild card round. I'm not calling for 9 sacks. That seems unrealistic. 5 sacks. Put Bryce Young on his butt early and often. Win this football game. I'll say score prediction 30-20 Rams win. Feeling good going into the next week.
All right, I like it. I like it. So that would leave us to the final 8 teams of the 2025-26 NFL season. I'm gonna obviously agree and say the Rams win. I sure hope we don't lose to an 8-9 team in the playoffs. I think we can remain unbiased and say the Rams are the favorite to win this game and that there's no excuse for why they shouldn't win. We'll go back to the AFC. Bills, Broncos in Denver. Who you got?
Oh my gosh, this is tough. This is like the team I've been picking all year to make it out of the AFC versus my favorite player, not on the Rams, Josh Allen.
Mm,
Oh man, it's in Denver. Oh gosh, I hate to pick against Josh Allen. But on the road in Denver, the way that defense has been playing, I think they're going to get them, man. I just feel
mm,
something about that Denver Broncos team at home. I think them getting home field advantage in that first round bye, because they've had a long year. They needed that first round bye to give that defense and Bo Nix and those boys some time to rest. I think they're going to come back rested. And I think those nightmares of Bills past come to haunt them here.
mm. All right, I'm gonna agree and say Broncos because I just genuinely think they're the better team. I know it hurts for you to say that because you're a big Josh Allen guy, and I love Josh Allen too, but I think Denver, you could argue they're the best team in football and have the best defense in football. So I'm gonna take Denver as well. That leads us to Houston and the Patriots to see who faces Denver in the AFC Championship. Who you got?
I'll let you lead this game off because I know where my opinion leads on it. So I want to hear your thoughts starting out.
I think that everybody has been calling the Patriots frauds all year long just because of their easy schedule. But you got to keep in mind they beat Buffalo, they've beaten a few good teams, and I don't think Denver has had much harder of a schedule than New England, and everybody's kind of kissing their butt and saying they're the best team in the league, which I'm not saying is or isn't true. I think Denver's great, but I think the Patriots are great too. And it's not like, it's not like they played the Jets and they're beating them by a walk-off field goal. They beat them 30, what was it? They beat them by like 30
Yeah, they
the
beat
other
them
week.
pretty bad for sure.
They're beating up on these teams. They lost to Oakland in week 1, but that was it. After it's week 1, you know? I'm gonna take New England, and I say it's New England, Denver in the AFC Championship like
All
it
right.
was, when I was growing up. So that would be pretty cool to see, Patriots, Broncos.
I like it. I like it. I like that.
So now we go over to the NFC once again. Our 2 biggest rivals, the Niners and
Yes.
Seahawks, round 3 of this matchup. Who you got?
Man, I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment after last Saturday, but I think there were things telling last Saturday that showed you just how this game would go. Now, I will say this: I was in the opinion that the Seahawks would win last week against the 49ers and get the 1 seed, but I thought come playoff time, the 49ers would technically, I think, be a stronger opponent. But I think right now, just seeing how the 49ers looked against that insane Seahawks defense, which I think is pretty comparable with Denver's. Shout out to Stafford, who just tore apart that Seahawks defense.
Yeah.
A few weeks ago. I think the Seahawks defense is just too much for them, man. I don't think San Francisco is going to be able to score enough to give them a chance to beat Seattle. And the thing is, you could say, well, Sam Darnold's got his playoff history. They dominated San Francisco so badly that literally all Sam Darnold had to do was like, I'm not going to screw this up. I'm not
Yep.
going to turn the ball over. We're just going to run it on them. They dominated the running game. And hey, I'm going to throw it to Smith and Jigba a few times. And you're just never even going to score. And we don't even have to try to score because you're not scoring. So I'm picking the Seahawks, all that considered. I think they're the better team. And I think they got the way better defense.
I would agree. I think the Seahawks are the better team. Honestly, the Niners have actually had the Seahawks number for years now. But after that game the other night, it's kind of hard to say the Niners would bounce back and beat them. But I don't see this game being similar at all to the game from the other night. There's no way the Niners only put up 3 points against them again. But man, I think if any team besides us would knock out the Seahawks, I think it's going to be San Francisco.
I would
But
agree with that.
I don't think the Seahawks are the team that would be this good and not win a playoff game. I'm gonna take Seattle in a very close game, giving them a chance to go to the NFC Championship. That leaves us to
I like it.
Rams Bears.
Rams Bears. This would be a tough one, but I'm not gonna lie to you. This would be in my mind right now. This is how I want this playoffs on the NFC side to shape up. If
Mhm.
we can take care of business against Carolina, you're telling me we're going against the Bears in the second round. I think the Bears are an extremely good team and a respectable opponent. I think they're a young team. This is Ben Johnson's first year ever. This is Caleb Williams' second year ever. And this is their first year together, first playoff year for both of them. First playoff game for probably over half the guys on that team. They're a young group. They got a lot of young players. We got the league MVP. We got the old guys. We do have a lot of young players too. I trust McVay. I trust Matthew Stafford. I trust us. I believe you do too. I'm curious what your thoughts would be on this game. I know you share a high opinion on the Bears as well.
So I'm gonna be honest, I think if the Rams lose in the playoffs, it's going to be some heartbreaking fashion to a team that we don't like it was last year and how pretty much every single loss this year has been. I don't see the Bears being that team to knock us out, so I'm actually gonna take the Rams. Obviously, I know almost everyone watching this is probably a Rams fan, so they don't mind a little Rams bias, but I think we're being honest in these predictions and saying, like, bias aside, I think the Rams beat the Panthers and they beat the Bears too. Would you agree with that?
1,000,000,000% for sure.
So that leaves us to the final four: Patriots, Broncos, Rams, Seahawks. Patriots, Broncos, a matchup we saw several times, Manning versus Brady. Now we got Bo Nix versus Drake May a decade later. And then in the NFC, we have one of the best rivalries in the NFC. The Rams and the Seahawks, they split during the season. We saw what might have been the game of the year back in week 16 in Seattle. Not the game of the year for us, but from a fan perspective that doesn't root for either team, it would be. Two great matchups. Who do we got? Patriots, Broncos.
Oh man, this would be a defensive smackdown for sure. This would be a low scoring game in my opinion. I like Denver being at home. I like Sean Payton a lot. I don't dislike Mike Vrabel. I think Sean Payton might just be a little bit better of a head coach, personally. I think Denver's just a little bit better overall. I will say I do think the Patriots' offense is better than Denver's. But I think Denver's offense is capable of scoring points when the time is needed, and I think they've proven that this year, time after time. And I think their defense carries them into the Super Bowl.
All right. I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna say Denver goes to the Super Bowl for the first time since what? Super Bowl
Yep.
50 against the
Yep.
Panthers. So Broncos win the AFC, but who do they face? Is it Broncos Rams, your early season prediction, or is it a rematch of Super Bowl 48, I want to say? Seahawks Broncos, where the Seahawks beat the crap out of them? I think it was 48 because 50 was Broncos Panthers. The year before was Patriots Seahawks, and the year before that was Seahawks Broncos.
Yeah.
I'm
Yep.
pretty
That
sure.
maths out. Yep. Good
So are we
call.
getting a Super Bowl 48 rematch, or are we getting your early season prediction Broncos Rams?
Man, I think that we would beat the Seahawks if we got them again, man. I think this right here is what I want. I wanted Carolina going into this week. I wanted a rematch against them. I wanted their physicality to test us. I think that'll be a good test. Like, can we run the football on them? And then I wanted the Bears because I think that's a second round game where we would be the favorites and I would feel incredibly good about going into that. And I wanted Seattle again, man. I
Yeah.
think if we get them again, man, I just think we're better than them, man. Our quarterback is better than them. Our coach is better than them. I still think our defense can be better than them.
Yep.
I saw our video from, a few weeks ago. I said we got a way better D line than them. Credit to the Seahawks defensive line. I might have been sleeping on them a little bit. But I'm taking our guys, man. I love Jared Verse. I love Byron Young, who, by the way, is healthy. He's good. I know he got hurt yesterday, but he's good to go. And I think we got the horses to finish this race and to get back to the Super Bowl, man. I really do believe we do.
All right. You got the Rams. I'm it's tough because we split in the regular season. I'm trying not to stay biased, and so that I won't be biased, I can't bet against Cooper Cup. Unless it's against the Rams. Give me the Rams to go to the Super Bowl and take on the Denver Broncos. You think I'm picking against the Rams? Come on now.
Let's
The
go.
Rams are winning the NFC. They're going back to the Super Bowl. They're taking on Denver. It's your early season prediction. The Rams, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be honest. I said in the beginning of I said back in February, the Rams are winning the Super Bowl. Who would I be? What kind of fan would I be? What kind of Rams podcast host would I be if I switched up now as the playoffs are here and said, oh, the Rams aren't going to win the Super Bowl anymore? I've been saying it for 11 months that the Rams are winning the Super Bowl. I'm not backing down. The Rams are beating the Seahawks in the NFC Championship. They're taking on the Broncos. And guess what, Jordan? They're going to beat them too. The Rams are going to win the Super Bowl. Would you agree with that? Or do you think
I'm
Denver
with
wins
you.
the Super Bowl?
I'm with you 100%, man. I think the Broncos are a great team. I love to see that. That's cool. That's cool. That's
That is
cool.
cool.
Um, I just think, man, I think it's our year. I think we were so close last year. I know we only won the one playoff game, but man, that was a great Eagles team last year. I heard some Eagles people saying that that was the best team, one of the best teams of all time, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah,
But maybe it was the best Eagles team of all time. And you know what? Last year, with our team on the road in the snow in the worst possible conditions, we had those boys, man. We were right there. Had them against the wall. Their back was straight against the wall. If they didn't get a stop right there, they were going to lose that football game. And we were dominating them again this year. So I think we can do this, man. I think we would have destroyed the Redskins in the conference championship last
I
year.
agree.
And then the Eagles blew out the freaking Chiefs. I don't think we would have necessarily blown them out, but I think we were a lot closer last year than maybe we would have gotten the credit for. And I think the improvements this year, I know we kind of had a slow end of the season, But I don't think that dictates the football team that we are, and I don't think it represents our quarterback, who I still believe will be crowned league MVP. He deserves it. 46 touchdowns. I believe that was tied for like sixth or seventh most ever in a single season. The people above him is like Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. Like, this is one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever walk the planet. And he's chasing this ring, man. This is a legacy ring. Every ring is a legacy ring. Not quite like this. Matthew Stafford, as league MVP, has a chance to really elevate himself, man, and bring him into that. I'm not gonna say he's Tom Brady or Peyton Manning or anything like that, but if he wins this Super Bowl and this MVP, I think he's gonna win Super Bowl MVP too. This is a crazy stat I heard. Shout out Jake Ellenbogen, my favorite Rams YouTuber. He said Matthew Stafford is the only quarterback in NFL history to throw 3 touchdowns on the winning team and not win Super Bowl MVP.
Wow.
Cooper Cup is our guy. He definitely deserves Super Bowl MVP. Matthew Stafford was deserving of Super Bowl MVP as well. I think he gets it around this time, and I think we finish it, man. We finish it in Santa Clara, SoFi North. I'm going to love the way that feels and sounds. I'll let you take over, though.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that Stafford's the MVP. I agree we win the whole thing in SoFi North. And now the people that are watching this, 99% of them are probably Rams fans because this is a LA Rams podcast. So I'm sure most people aren't sitting here saying, "Oh, these guys are delusional. The Rams aren't going to win the Super Bowl. They're the 5 seed." They're probably agreeing with us, but I don't think it's ridiculous to say if there's a team out of the wild card spot that's going to go to Carolina, beat the 8 and 9 Panthers, go to Chicago, pull off the win, and then go to Seattle and get payback on the team that just kinda I know it was a one-point game, but in the end embarrassed you on primetime football that Thursday night game. You get your payback on them, and then just like that, you're 1 win away from being Super Bowl champs. And right now, Jordan, the Rams aren't 12 and 5. They're 0 and 0, just
Yep,
like everybody else. Everybody's 0 and 0. It doesn't
that's right.
matter. And so we gotta beat the Panthers, either the Seahawks, Bears, Eagles, whoever, and then probably the Seahawks in the NFC Championship game.
Yes.
And then in terms of our predictions, Denver. I think these are all possible outcomes. I think the Rams can still win the whole darn thing. So, speaking of Matthew Stafford, before we wrap this up, I did want to ask you a quick question. You mentioned a little bit about Matthew Stafford being one of the best quarterbacks to ever walk the planet. Where would you rank him all time if he wins this Super Bowl?
Oh man, it is so tough when you talk about ranking quarterbacks when you're comparing the decades. I'm a big NFL historian, self-proclaimed, but I have a lot of love for those quarterbacks of the past, whether it be Bart Starr, people like that, Roger Staubach. I'm from Dallas, so Roger Staubach, that's my guy right there. That's a legend. So, it's tough. I think theoretically, because I do believe I saw the Vegas odds, they shifted. Matthew Stafford is favored to win league MVP. He has got to be league MVP. 46 touchdowns. I mean, he has the most yards too. Like, he's got to be league MVP. So if he wins league MVP and wins the Super Bowl, let's say theoretically Super Bowl MVP, man, I'm thinking at least like top 15, maybe top 10 of all time. It would be tough for me because I'll say this, my brother, he's not a Rams fan, but shout out him. He's been my biggest supporter through all these years, through my Rams journey. We talked about it too. Would you rank him above Kurt Warner, my guy, my hero?
Oh.
I
Oh.
don't know if I could, man. I hate to say it. Because you got to look at it like this. Obviously, with his stats, Matthew Stafford almost literally has twice the career stats that Kurt Warner does. But
Mhm.
Kurt Warner has 2 league MVPs. He was that guy, man. He was the best player on the planet for three
Yeah.
years. And we got robbed in that Super Bowl against the Patriots. I will never hear anything otherwise. So it's tough. I'll say top 15 for sure. I don't know if I could put him above Kurt Warner though, man. He's got the MVPs and the Super Bowl MVP. That would be really tough for me. Those are my guys though, for sure.
I think my answer to that question depends on what happens in these playoffs. I think that's how important these playoffs are. If best case scenario, Matthew Stafford wins league MVP, the Rams win the Super Bowl and he wins Super Bowl MVP, give me Stafford over Warner. But
Wow.
if it doesn't happen and they still both have 1 ring, and let's say Stafford, even if Stafford wins MVP, Warner would have more MVPs, they'd have the same amount of rings, I would probably take Warner over Stafford. So, it all depends on what happens. This is a legacy month for Matthew Stafford. We're gonna have to see what happens, but hopefully this time next week, we're talking about our next matchup and we're not talking about the offseason because by next episode, the Rams will have played Carolina on Saturday at 4:30, in case anyone was wondering when the game was, or 4:30 Eastern time, 1:30 Pacific time, 3:30 your time, I believe, right?
Yes, 3:30
So it's
Central.
different for everybody, but you guys can look it up, but they play Saturday afternoon. I'll put it like that in Carolina. So go Rams, Jordan. It's been I hope this isn't our last episode of the season, but if it was an absolute pleasure doing this with you all season long. Hopefully it's not our last episode. I hope that we continue to do these episodes week by week as the season goes on for our Rams. But if not and something crazy happens and we somehow lose to the Panthers, thank you for everything. It's been a blast doing this with you here on Ramblin' Rams. Um and yeah, any last thoughts, Jordan?
Yeah, for sure, man. Thank you so much for, having me on the show with you. It's been literally like such a blast, and I've had a great time doing it. I love talking football, love talking Rams. I feel really good about this Super Bowl run, man. This weekend went good for me. I think we got this, man. I have the faith. I'm feeling good. Shout out Tyler Higbee, the GOAT tight end for the Rams, back. Had a huge game. Devontae's going to be back. Dotson's going to be back. We're going to be ready to rock and roll. This is going to be a Rams team for the playoffs that we have not seen all year. We haven't seen this group this healthy, all put together, all ready to rock and roll. So I don't think anyone's quite ready for it, man. Everyone knows who we are, but when they finally see us, they won't be ready for it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Jordan, we got to buckle up. We got the Panthers on Saturday. Ladies and gentlemen, one more announcement before we wrap things up. The Ramblin' Rams podcast is a part of the JT Sports Network, which is now on the School app. That's SKOOL. You guys can join. It's kind of like a Discord, or it's only $8 a month to join for the community and for all bonus content. You're gonna see a bunch of other stuff on there as well, like Broad Street Banter, because I'm a Flyers fan. That's a Flyers podcast I have by myself. Um, the Wiffle Ball League that we have. There's a bunch of content on there. It's only $8 a month. Everybody go check it out. We're going to leave the link in the description below, so make sure you go check that out. But as always, go Rams. Jordan, it's been a pleasure, and we'll see you guys next week.
Horns up.